Well, hey there, adventurer. So, session four. We have a big night, session four for you. Plus, I have a little surprise towards the end. Okay? I have a little surprise towards the end. We're also you'll have to just indulge me a little bit because part of our job is to try to break all the things for all the social companies. So we're creating kind of like a hybrid situation. So we have kind of like the VIP room over in Crowdcast, and then I'm gonna hit to go live in our the new paid online events, and then we also for members of Social Coach, one of their benefits is they always get a copy of everything. So we're testing it going in there, and then we're doing two other things. Um, we're gonna go live on Facebook for we're gonna send to Facebook for just one part of it and just basically drive them crazy, which will be fun. And then we're also uh, streaming on YouTube right now, so we're testing a couple of things with that. So we got a couple of things going on in the background, but I'll be focusing my attention inside of Crowdcast in the VIP room. So wherever we're broadcast, in the description, there is a link for you to get access to that if you so desire. Okay. So what I want to do is in Chris, I have a bit of an agenda, and I want to like outline the agenda really quick. Okay. And so what I want to start out doing is I want to give you guys a little bit of a review of our first three sessions. And then I'm basically going to break down three different areas to kind of round out like our core teaching on how to get more followers. Okay, there'll be our core teaching on how to get more followers. There's still going to be some bonus content, so that's why like I'll give you guys a little surprise at the end. So make sure to to go at the end. And I'm going to go over some engagement basics um, on how to grow your followers. We're then going to cover discovery plus my favorite Instagram hack, which I'm actually going to do that first to freak out Facebook. And then we're going to talk about cross pollination. Then we'll talk about next steps, and we'll have an exclusive Q&A just for you guys in here. But let me first, what I'm going to do is let's make sure we're going live in our event. So we're now live in our event. We normally aren't like normally we won't be doing this many. We're just testing to see. I mean, we're basically trying to break it. We're trying to break it essentially. That's the plan. Um, check over on the YouTubes. There we go. There. Test one more thing. I'm gonna give you a review, and then we'll go over my favorite of all the hacks. Okay, my favorite of all the hacks. Okay, so let's review. Now, you will have access to all of this content. Okay, you'll have access to all of this content. So if you missed one of these sessions, I'm gonna kind of break them down for you a little bit so that you can go, oh, I need to see that session, right? So in session one, what we really focused on in session one uh, was just the idea. Um, I think I broke it in social coach. You'll have to see. In session one, what we talked about is we get so focused on like, do I have followers, right? Do I have followers? Instead of like, am I creating content worth following, right? We're so focused on, hey, I'm gonna get all these followers instead of saying, hey, am I providing value? So we really talked about the difference between Most people look at followers as a strategy instead of thoughtfulness. Strategy is about how I can extract value out of people versus how can I add value. So if you want to win long term, right? Um, if all you care about is likes, then that's just a roller coaster. And last, it might be different. I've been, locked here in the back cave for a little bit. Um, you can't pay your bills with likes. So what I want to do is I want to help you with legacy. Legacy is like that is a horse of a different color for sure. Okay. And so we spent a lot of time in that first session, probably like 3/4 of it, really talking about that concept because of how important it is. But towards the end of that session, right? So if you make a note and you want to go towards that end of that session, what one of the factors that people really run into that is a problem is is the idea that they're given some janky advice. And really what I try to help people with is think about it is that whatever it is, right? Whatever it is that caused the issue, whatever it is that caused the issue, that thinking, that mentality, the same mentality isn't going to fix that issue, right? So if you got in trouble for lying about something, guess what? Lying about it to get out of it just makes it worse. So if you were told to mass add everybody, like that's not what's going to help you, right? So you're gonna have to thoughtfully go through that. Give you guys a little bit of homework there. And so I'll show you on my screen here and give you a little bit of an example just to kind of remind you, because this is a relatively new feature that I I absolutely love uh, that uh, that Facebook had added, right? And so if we go over here and go to your following, right? So if we go to your following, this will help you so much. And that is least interacted with. Now, what least interacted with, that is going to be always updated. So if tomorrow it could be different because if you unfollow somebody, because this is what happens, is it's like, oh crap, I've followed way too many people. My newsfeed is all messed up. What am I going to do? And so then they try to mass unfollow people. Instead, right? And there's limits on what you can do. There's a lot of people have said recently, like, hey, I got suspended for a day of using Instagram. I was like, why? You should never be suspended or flagged or anything for that. So what you want to do is you want to go to that section, that 50. And that 50 again, it's going to always update. So you're always going to have the 50 that you're least engaging with. So I want you to think about that. That's a beautiful idea because instead of unfollow, you'll find that probably a third of them, you're going to go and say, wow, I forgot, like I should interact with that person. And then guess what will happen? They'll move out of least interacted with and then like back towards the top. So think about it, the bottom 50. And your goal is to just every time that you're in there is say, hey, I either want to take them and move them back towards the top and engage with them again, or I want to get rid of them. But this mentality that is, I'm just going to add, and then I'm going to like delete, that is just an exhausting churn. That's the technical term, churn. Um, I'm just going to follow a bunch of people and then unfollow and then follow and then follow. You'll never create anything quality with that way, right? So really, that first session, go back to that in both our event, inside of Social Coach, and here in the VIP room. You have all 4 sessions. I spent a lot of time talking about creating that value and finding kind of what your audience is. That's going to be important. And then right towards the end, I talked about like uh, how you can get that follower count down. That's also going to be important because if you have a lot of people that you're following and a lot of people aren't following you back, that looks bad, and uh, you're not going to fix it overnight, but you can make it better every day. And that's the whole point, is about 1% improvements, getting better every day. Okay, so that was session one. We had a great session. Session two, session two, I'll say it wasn't the sexiest session, right? It wasn't like, oh my God, these hacks are blowing me away. What it really talked about is foundational stuff. One of my favorite stories is I'm was born in Cudahy, Wisconsin, in right outside of Milwaukee, and somebody was saying like, oh, so you're a Packer fan. I was like, listen, when you're from when you're from Wisconsin, you don't have a choice. Like that's stamped on your birth certificate. Like, but you always hear all these stories about Vince Lombardi, and um, when Vince Lombardi winning the Super Bowls, the press wants to know like, how is he doing it? Like he's at another level compared to everybody else. If we can just like imagine being a journalist trying to get that scoop. Imagine being a journalist trying to get that scoop. And so at the beginning of the season, Vince Lombardi one year decided he's going to let the press in. So the press come in and they're just like, imagine what that room is like. Like that room is electric, right? Like what's he going to say? It's totally quiet. And he picks up a football and he says, gentlemen, this is a football. There is 100 yards on the field. We have 4 possessions to get a first down. There are different ways that we can do that. Do you know what he did? Every single year, everybody thought like he has got this huge speech. You know what he did? Every single year, won the Super Bowl. Like if anybody like doesn't need that speech, here's the fundamentals. And so session two got into some of those fundamentals. That isn't like mind blowing hacks, but it deals with important things, very important things, specifically as it relates to how you're linking your account to Facebook. Because if we look at, especially during this weird time, Emerson, he's my son last night, said, you just got to embrace the weird, Dad. Just embrace the weird. And during this weird time, 3 billion people logged in to one of Facebook's products. And so Instagram is a portion of that. By the way, I don't think I can show it to you, but I did happen to grab a screenshot of it's a rumor. It's a rumor. Although I have a screenshot of potentially the ability to go live on Instagram and it goes to Facebook. So there's so many integrations that are happening because it's the same team. Um, that anybody that is your friend on Facebook can get notified that you're on Instagram. And so this is huge for you. This is huge for you to make sure that you have that set up right. Now, a lot of people don't have it set up right. They think they need a business account. You do not need a business account. You need to have a creator account. A business account goes to a business page. A creator account goes to your personal profile. That in some cases has an 800 times advantage. So that's how you build your account. Like, I want more followers. It's always interesting to me, the people that want more followers but don't want to be coached. Like you can't cherry pick it. You can't go through and say, well, I want sometimes to listen. I want to listen when it's convenient. So I'll tell you, the people that have listened, right? If you guys have already followed that advice, just say in the chat, Like over and over again, you guys are telling me how you're already seeing results. Sometimes I say it can take up to like with algorithm stuff, it could take a couple of weeks. You guys are seeing stuff in 2 to 3 days, not 2 to 3 weeks. So you want to have a creator account. We did a whole series on that. Um, and so making sure that's synced as well as we talked about contact syncing. Okay. Again, is it the sexiest thing ever? Like everybody wants to, oh, I want to talk about my grid and what Lightroom preset and all the stuff that has very low, what we call ROI or return on investment. Like horrible return on investment. Like who cares? But you never have time to sit and do the hard work. Like, I don't get the idea of boring because I've never been bored. I don't really get, I mean, I get it conceptually. I just have never experienced it. It's kind of like, um, I live most of the time in Florida. My kids are in Florida. And so, um, my kids had never seen snow. Till they're just like Peyton Peyton saw snow like I think she was 18. Emerson still has not seen snow. And so um that's like watching snow on TV. Conceptually, I get the idea, but I've never experienced it. It's like boring. Like, why would I be bored? Because I know that when I put this work in, I'm gonna get the results, and when I set it up right, I'm gonna win. And guess what? Winning, like winning's a lot of fun. Winning's a lot of fun. Okay, so that was a lot of session two. A lot of session two got into like all of that. Uh, Also, this is why if you guys are in like that Facebook event, we want to make sure that you fill out that form that's pinned in your event because that gives us your email so that we can send you like, hey, we made a mock-up that shows you how to do the settings. So make sure that you guys have filled that out. Um, okay, session three. Session Also, by the way, at the end of session two, I didn't want it to be like not any fun. So we talked about QR codes. So this is a big change that happened with Instagram this last week. And what I love about it, Ashley wants to know what am I drinking? Not soda, Ashley. Although I love it. It's Crystal Light. I was trying to be good. And then Eric just saw Ashley's comment and he handed me a Mountain Dew, which you can't see because it's green. And so I absolutely love Instagram's change because they had something called there were name tags and you could use them inside of Instagram, but they were only good inside Instagram. So, in fact, Ashley, I took a screenshot of hers because she even added some, like she added like it wasn't a Bitmoji, but it was like a graphic on top. Like as long as you don't cover the QR code, a lot of people are doing some really creative stuff. What I love about the idea of the QR code, in fact, um, Eric, why don't you let's show them how this works. With it being a QR code, so load up your QR code. This will work on any iOS or Android phone with just your camera. Okay. And so having these QR codes, like I'm thinking, man, I might put that in, on the back of a business card. I might put that as part of an email signature. Like you can do so many creative things that I love it. So let's actually show this. So you see what happens? Like I'm just in my normal camera and it loaded up open Instagram. Like it's that easy. It's that easy. It's absolutely fantastic. Um, some of you take screenshots and do it. You don't want to do that. You actually want to save it. I know that there's a little bit of a bug for those of you who have an Android. If you guys want to know how to fix that, it's a little bit more complicated because the Apple stores are closed down. So you have to send your Android to the Apple store and then give them your credit card, and they'll send you back an iPhone, and then it works just fine. What you can do um, is you might want to try to reinstall the app if you have an Android. The other thing is you don't save it to the camera roll. You can share it to your camera roll. It's a little weird, but it crashes about half the time. You might try to do a screenshot. The other thing is um, grab a friend who has an iPhone and then save it. And then I was going to say airdrop it to yourself, but you guys don't have that. There's this old technology called texting. Text it to yourself. You can also get it from like desktop. Okay. So I did that at the end of session two. And then session three was super eye-opening for so many of you, and that's where we talked about hashtags. And that isn't the number one reason, like that's not the number one way to grow your account, but it is a big way. There are so many people that didn't understand how hashtags work that Sunday night we did session three, and that was huge for them, right? So that's just a recap of we did all those different sessions. I'll also say one more thing about the QR codes. Depending on what community you're in, right? If you're in the paid event or if you're in Social Coach or you're one of our supporters, we made 3 different posts where you can practice and drop your QR code, and then people within that community can help find each other. And there's been a lot of like great connections that are made. And I love that people aren't being spammy and janky, and people are being really thoughtful. So I love that. Okay, so that is, I wanted to make sure that we covered that uh, really quick. Now what I want to do is I'm going to now talk session 4, and then you'll have a surprise at the end. I'm going to jump ahead to one area. It's my favorite. Like it's always like it's my favorite hack until I like find the next hack that I like. But I keep coming back to this one because I don't ever hear anybody talk about it. Um, and I was just telling a friend today that because I'm doing a Zoom a little bit later with their team, is that my goal is if you can Google it, then what value am I adding? So I want to give you things that like it's not about knowledge, it's about wisdom, right? Uh, People can Google and like, here's where that button is. Okay, but that's very different than the how and the why. Okay, so I'm going to show you my one of my favorite hacks. But what I'm going to do is we're going to go live on Facebook too, and give them like a little preview and drive them just a tad bit, just a tad bit crazy. Okay, so let's go over here. Also testing here, making sure we're also testing on 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 YouTube here as well. Okay, so let's do. You guys want to do the music again? Let's do the music again. So this is what I love about this hybrid situation is that we can have our time together. We're doing something a little bit new here in the Crowdcast in that all the topics I have to remember to hit them, but they're going to be timestamped so you can go back and watch them, which is really cool. I probably broke it again. Okay. Who knows? Who knows what's going on over there, over there on the Facebook. But what's that? Oh, why isn't it broken yet? I get so frustrated. Normally people get frustrated when things break. I am so frustrated that it's not broken. What I'm doing is supposed to not be possible. It's impossible, they say. Okay, I am going to show you, right? I'm not going to make you wait to the end. I'm going to show you my favorite, my favorite. It might change. My favorite when we're looking at growing our followers, right? So this is session four. Um, session four. Um, and I'm going to give you like 3 or 4 different hacks. But so here's one of the things that I love. I love when I try to communicate to you guys that it's about speaking to an audience of like one person. There's so many times that I just see that people like they're shouting, like they're always just shouting, like trying to get everybody's attention instead of like just having a conversation with just one person. And so what I'll tell you is that my most successful post live videos, everything is when I make it personal. Which the future is all about personalization and customization, but as personal as I can make it, they're the best. Because I'll tell you, and they don't do as well when they don't do as well when I get busy or I got a lot on my mind, and I violate this principle. But I'll tell you, like if I go to write a post, I'm thinking of the person that I'm writing this post to, right? So if I'm trying to encourage, like, I want to encourage everybody. I don't try to encourage everybody. I try to encourage one person. And then if that's relatable, then that's just repeated over and over and over again. So I'll tell you, you sometimes get so caught up in the what time should I post this, that you miss the important thing, right? I want more followers, but like, am I worth following right now? Like you're worthy, but like you're worthy, but make it worth their while. And so this is where one of my favorite hacks comes into place. So this becomes a little bit different because of maybe COVID, but um, there is the example that I'll use is that there is one of my favorite places is it's a strawberry and blueberry, like you can pick your own, and it's called like Pappy's Strawberry Patch. Okay, now um, if I, right, am going through and saying, hey, because like there was a season where like a lot of people probably wouldn't know this, but like I have a whole compost thing. I'm working on plants because I'm getting some raised beds. Like I love to garden. Okay, you might not know that about me because like you think I'm all technical all the time, and like there's a lot of me that is very much not that. And so let's say that that's something that I'm passionate about, right? That's part of session one. Like, what are you passionate about? That might be a really great place if I was trying to meet people. Okay. Or, for example, um, if you were trying to meet maybe other moms with young kids, what are they doing on Saturday? They might be at Pappy's Patch. They also might be in October, they might be at a pumpkin patch. There's not like where is that person? So I want to go and always think, who is that person that I'm talking to? Who is going to be my next best friend? They just don't know it yet. Who's going to be that next person on my team, they just don't know it yet. Where are they right now? I mean, think about it. Think about it. If we just remove the the human constructs that you put on yourself, and I take you outside of the space-time continuum right now. Let's say that 2 weeks from now, you meet your next best friend. You just don't know it yet. Well, that person is out there right now. So where are they? Where are they? Are they at the pumpkin patch? Are they at the Target? Are they shopping at Whole Foods? Like, are they? Where are they're somewhere? They're somewhere. They are they? Do you have a favorite ride at Disney? Maybe they're on that. So I'll give you an example. So in our last session, we talked about hashtags. So for example, let's say you are one of those people that just are in love with pumpkin spice. Today was like Christmas for you because, 2020's been a little rough, but you got pumpkin spice early. You got pumpkin spice early. So Teresa says that yours are at karaoke. Okay. So is there a karaoke bar like near you? Is there hashtags maybe? So think about it from like hashtags for pumpkin spice, like there's a lot of them. So let's get into let's use Pappy's Patch, okay? Okay. Um where you're gonna want to go to. Okay, so where we're gonna want to go to is you see the magnifying glass? So the magnifying glass is gonna be explore. Okay. So the magnifying glass is gonna be explore. And this is gonna be Instagram is just doing an algorithm. You'll see that they will prioritize reels at the top of that. You will see along the top shop, IGTV, well-being, architect, like different topics. Also, if I wanted to scan a QR code, that's also a faster way. Like when I showed you guys in session two, I was like, well, I just went to my settings and then went over there. But you also can go here. But what a lot of people don't know is that if I go and press on the search button, okay? So I'm gonna hit that search, and then when I have that search, this is where it's gonna come up with a couple of different things. So top accounts, tags, and then places. Okay. So this is where like I feel like nobody is ever clicking on this button. But think about it. So I live in a I wouldn't say it's a bou- I mean, is it a bougie neighborhood? I mean, it's a historical neighborhood. It's not like fancy houses, but it's all. I mean, why are you laughing? Yes, he said it's a little bougie. Well, guess what? If I want to see all of the posts of maybe my neighbors, I can go in and, let's say that you're like, you love animals. Okay, well, here is, oh, so that dog was missing. But basically, I can scroll through here and, oh, love French bread pizza. But the problem is, you got to go with Supreme. Um, but just the idea is I can go and scroll through my neighborhood and get to know my neighbors through Instagram, follow some of them, interact with some of them. Now, what I'll tell you is you want somebody to follow you back. There is about a 10% chance they're going to do that. There's only about a 10% chance they're going to do that. If you like their post and then request a follow, that goes up to about 20%. And if you leave a thoughtful comment and like a post, that goes up to about 30%. So, do you see why it's like, well, I gotta like follow all these people? Or you could slow down, be thoughtful, be a human being, and you can do, you can get three times the results by being thoughtful. Because I'm also not going to comment on every single one of these. Aw. So let's now I also want to make a point here. If I developed an app, if I developed an app that that app um, could interrupt people where they are and interrupt whatever they're doing, and my brand would pop up on the screen and give them a positive message. People would pay me $1 billion for that. Well, here it is. When I double click on that, Mike Freeman's phone just went off. See, again, you guys focus on where's the button? How's it? No, no. What's the wisdom? My neighbor's phone just went off. And he was like, who's that? And then he checks their profile and, oh, look, who's this guy who lives in my neighborhood, and look at his dog. Or listen, or just follow all that crappy advice and just follow 100 people that are random. Do you see how this works infinitely different? Okay. So uh let me go back. Right. I'm gonna go back to that locate. But I'm gonna pick a different location this time. Okay. So I'm gonna pick a different location because I want to use Pappy's Patch. Okay. So I'm going to go to Pappy's Pappy's Patch. You pick strawberries. Okay. So now I'm here. I can go to top or I can go to recent. And what did I just do? I essentially just made Instagram like Instagram only exists. It's an app that only works at Pappy's Patch, nowhere else. Just like if I went to a hashtag, it's like, oh, everything is about just this topic. So if I wanted to, now some of these posts are going to be a little bit old because Poppy's Patch, because of quarantine, shut down, but you kind of get the idea. So, um, are you really into um, like eating healthy and you go to a farmer's market? I I bet you your farmer's market has a place location. Um, there is, some of my friends are like Disney freaks. Okay. Your favorite ride's a haunted mansion. Cool. That's listed. You want to meet your neighbors? You want to go and see on Friday night, um, like football's a big deal for you guys? Your favorite coffee shop? You like to go to Lou Gardens and whatever that is, there's a location for it. Okay, so that is I wanted to show you guys kind of, you know, three other ways to grow on that. And so what I want to do is I wanted to give you on Facebook, on our page, Adventure Social, I wanted to give you guys a little preview of this. So there's a hack that I hope you love. If you want to get the full preview of everything, there's a link in the description. We're going to be live over in the event, and this is only one of four of our things. Plus, we have a big surprise at the end of this. to tell everybody about. So I'll see you guys later that are on the business page. I think if I didn't break it, if I didn't break it. Okay, those of you in Social Coach in the paid event or in Crowdcast, take a minute and take a deep breath and let me know what you thought of that. Makes a lot of sense, right? Makes a lot of sense. Now that's only one of the ways, right? Like I've showed you, hey, you're gonna connect. You are like there's other ways to grow. Okay, that is just one of those ways. Okay? So now what I want to do is let me go back to our agenda here. Go back to our agenda and so right now, what I'm doing is I'm talking about discovering. Eric, if you can make a note that we just got to move discovering the RADA hack up a little bit, but I am answering a little bit. If you guys have any questions, you can put that in the ask a question. If you guys don't have that button, you can go into our crowdcast. In your video, there's a description on how to get there. Cool. So yes, very much so. Love this. Oh, can I just give a shout out to one of my new favorite Instagram handles? I saw it right before. I think she was one of the last ones that would enter. Her Instagram handle is Cardi. It's it's Cardi not B. I love it. What's that? I know I'm trying to get rid of. In the background, I'm trying to destroy part of Facebook, but it thinks it's smarter than me. It thinks I can't figure it out, but it doesn't know that I know its behind the scenes URL structure, and I'm building a tunnel through it right now. So we'll see. Yeah, her Instagram handle is Cardi not B. I think it's CARDI dot not dot B. I I don't I don't know if the account's great, but I do know that if I go by the handle, love it, absolutely love it. Okay, so I want to show you one thing on discovery here. So if we go over to discovery, um, this is okay. So the whole thing about you know hashtags and you want to develop kind of a rhythm for this. Um, One of the things I want to point out is that if we go over, right, so I'm going to go to the hamburger menu. And so in that hamburger menu, this is where you can go to discover people. So the reason I want to kind of show you some engagement first, but I kind of have this group together. What I want you to realize, right, is just conceptually, I want you to think about it is why should we get a bunch of new people when like we haven't taken care of like the people that we have? Like, you get that? Like we want to get new people, but we're not engaging with the ones we have. And so that's an important idea. Um, but this is another method. And then what I'm going to attempt to do is then put this all together in a sample rhythm for you, and I'll talk about that at the end. But if I go to discover people is going to come up, and it's going to suggest based upon lots of different things. First of all, that maybe they follow me, or uh, for example, if I go to if I go to Meg, Um, Meg is followed by Adventure Social, which has a very close algorithm with me and six other people. So that is going to be a good recommendation because, again, when I look, I'm looking at her following count isn't all out of whack. Followed by some of my close friends is following me, isn't tons of product shots. So that's a good, that's a good one to do. At the same time, you'll notice that that discover button also, after you follow somebody, this will kind of show up. And so this is where, you know, you might go through and look through some of these as well. Okay. Um, but I want to go back to this. So this is going to also show different different things of like, for example, if they're friends with you on Facebook, that's going to be a factor. If they're in your contacts, that's going to be a factor. So what you might want to do is I want you to think of it as kind of like different pools, right? Think of it as different pools that you can kind of like fish in. So the location, that's a great idea. And so you might spend a little bit of time there. Or you might say, hey, on Mondays, I'm going to do this one, or like create a list and say, hey, I'm going to fish here a little bit and I'm going to fish here. Like you're fishing for friends. Okay. And so, hey, I'm gonna go through like I'm following these different hashtags. Hey, I'm gonna go to Discover and I'm gonna see what recommendations they have. And instead of just this mass following craziness that people do. Okay. So for example, Amy, do you see what it says? It says, oh, she's my friend on Facebook, which I'm going like, wait, I'm not friends with her already. So that's like one of the things is that sometimes, um, like my accounts can get crazy. And so it's like, I'm always surprised of like, wait, I thought I was following you. So I want to follow Amy. Um, it also like will say like, oh, this person is like maybe new to Instagram, or you can see that um, where there might be, oh, they're followed by several other people, just like with Facebook, like mutual friends. And so I just want to like point that out that in that hamburger menu, you can go to discover people. Now, another way to kind of get to it here is I can go to brand here, okay, and you can get to the same. Let's say that you didn't follow somebody. If I go and just hit that down arrow, I'm going to get that basically that same thing. Like I don't have to go and follow somebody to show up. If I hit that down arrow, it's going to go and say, hey, this is who we suggest for you. And if I hit see all, see what it just did? It just went to the suggested. So there is, um, there's several different ways to get to it. A lot of times what I do is I try to show you where it is like in a menu, and then I try to show you the shortcuts, right? So I can go to discover people here. Okay. And again, I might pick 4 or 5 out of there. But I would go in first, you know, um, I think that's his Spanish account. Frank puts so many. He keeps making accounts. Um, Now, because I haven't followed this account, I don't have that button. But if, for example, we'll go back to, see now that shows up and then I can make it go away. But a lot of times, what you'd want to do first, it's a little different for me because I'm following them back, so I don't have to go and like and comment, but I still want to. And so that's where I can go and like leave a thoughtful comment or anything like that. Also, when we talked about that's where I can go and make adjustments. Like I showed you this in session one towards the end, where you can adjust all of these things to dial somebody back or to dial somebody up. Okay. So I wanted to point out that discover people because that's going to be an important place for you, right? That's going to be an important place for you that when you're growing. So if you're going to grow your account, again, what we got to do is first look at, am I creating the value? Who am I trying to communicate to? Am I putting stuff that's going to add value or make their day better? Okay, once I do that, am I managing, like, am I going through and saying, hey, the people that I already have in my life, am I am I forgetting about them or am I curating that? And then the people that aren't reacting, you know, then it may be time to take a little break from them. Okay? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So that is the discovery and kind of like the rad hack there, right? So if you take that into then session two, you're getting your settings because all of this the discovery is based upon having those settings right. So you see how it showed me that Amy and I are friends on Facebook, but I didn't realize I wasn't following her on Instagram until this moment. So taking that time to do that is going to have a good return there. Then you can use things like places, or you can go and search those different, you know, hashtags or follow those. Okay, good. I'm glad that's making sense to you there. Okay, I want to leave a little bit of time for uh, a little bit of kind of announcement there. So I do want to mention just quickly when it comes to cross pollination. Okay, so when it comes to cross pollination, I'm gonna give you guys some examples of how to do that. And so this event, it went from Tuesday to Tuesday. So like technically, if you go to the Facebook event, it's done at midnight. But that doesn't mean we still can't post in it. And that's why we want you guys to fill out the form so we can send you emails and stuff. Because I want to create we're creating some screenshots that shows you the different settings that you should have. So we're doing that. And on top of that, I want to give you some examples of how I would do cross pollination. So what cross pollination is for example going and taking your Instagram QR code and doing a post on Facebook with that. I'm not saying you should do that. I'm just saying that would be an example of cross pollinating. Is that you have an audience, um, you have an audience on Facebook, and so let's get them over to Instagram. Um, Making sure that your link is in your Facebook profile. A lot of people they don't have their link or their link set up wrong. It's crazy to me how many times I'll go and click on it. It was like, oh, not found because they didn't type it in right. It's like, hey, if you guys typed it like so one of the phrases that I use a lot with like the adventure team is I'll mention to them no dead ends. Like all roads like lead to a path. So what are we doing to make sure that do people even know that you have an Instagram account? Do they even know? So it should be in your Facebook. Have you done a post that says, "Hey, are you on Instagram? I want to follow you. Please, like, drop your QR code below." Okay, that's an example of cross-pollination. And so I want to give you some written examples of that. And I also want to give you some ideas for QR codes. So if you guys are in the Facebook event, make sure you go to the pin post there. Social Coach, you guys will get that automatically. It'll be put in there. If you're watching on Facebook and they're not letting me just delete your stream and shut you off. Hey, if I send, I'm gonna try to send the link to you and see if you can override it. Let's see if you can override it. Oh, watch this. I don't even need that. I had to tunnel through the firewall. Bye bye. Yes. Okay. Sorry about that. I was obsessed to just because like I also want to like you guys are did the work to be there, and so I want to give them a preview, but if they want more, do what you guys did. Okay. So that's the idea of cross-pollinating. Um, when it comes to engagement basics, okay? Um, I'm gonna one of the things that I want to do as a surprise for you guys. Um, yeah, so Valerie says you just check your insight on your creator count and it shows 25% in 7 days. Doesn't surprise me if you put in the work and do it. Um, so what I want to say about engagement is, and I was waiting on purpose to I was waiting on purpose to engage with this post. So I made this post yesterday. So this was a social coach exclusive. So one of the things that I like to do and want to do more of is social coach gets open office hours where I'll just go live and like we'll work through something. And so I showed them how we made this post, okay, and that we did some of those things. Um, and honestly, it didn't get as many likes as others did, and partially why. I'll tell you exactly why. Because if we go through and if we look at the insights, it compared to the one previously with my my daughter, the reach was crazy. And like look at from hashtags, those hashtags 2,682 versus what happened yesterday. What happened yesterday is I was really rushed. Didn't have a lot of time and I was just like rushing. And so instead of 2,000 views from a hashtag, we got 15. Okay. Um, but partially why I didn't do as well is because I was gonna wait and do the live view and show you how I do engagement. So I didn't engage with any of the comments. So when you engage with comments, the people, like for example, um, so Valerie says, I wish I could have Vader's life. So when she says that and I reply, um, don't we all, and laugh emoji, her phone just went off, which then comes back and that can count as now a second view. But also, I just became friends with Amy, and Amy's friends with Valerie. And so now the odds that Amy sees this post just went through the roof because I, because think about it, in real life, if you're walking along and you see two of your friends talking, don't you want to know what, hey, what are you guys doing? What are you talking about? That's what just happened there. So I can go to here and go with Megan. We have mutual friends. So I totally have become that dad. Now, another thing is Megan left a thoughtful post. Like some people would say, "Oh, cute." Okay, I mean, it's, I'm glad they commented, but that's different than writing something out. So one of the things that I can do that I like is that if I swipe over, you'll see that little pin. I can pin that post, and now that's pinned at the top so that when you go over to this post, well, if they would see it in the timeline, Megan's is going to be at the top. What also is great is Megan got a special notification that I pinned it. So there's so many of you that say, I want more engagement. I'm not getting a lot of likes. Well, first of all, what are you spending time in the newsfeed? Are you going to those least interacted with and say, yeah, I don't even know how we're following each other. That was some bad advice I got, but like, oh, that's my friend. I need to go and dial that up a little bit and engage with them. And I should spend time engaging here. So like creatively is pretty much an emoji. So I can just at least heart that. Not everything, not every comment uh, is created equal. So I can go to newest and just kind of go through and comment on a few. So, so she noticed that on his name tag is like a skull and crossbone. Now, what you guys have to learn is this is not, and again, I like that comment because again, she noticed something detailed, said something detailed. So I'm going to go and pin that comment. Is it bad to heart all comments? First of all, it's bad to ask a question in the chat and not in the question area. But uh, since I was wrapping up anyway, um, I mean, why? I mean, listen, if you love everything, you love nothing. So I I do want, I think acknowledging things um, is important, but I want to have conversations. Conversations, not comments. I don't think of it as comments. I think of conversations. And so as and if you've watched any of our coaching before, I'm not trying to like knock them all out. I'm going to do a few and then I'm going to let it sit and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to stoke those coals and that fire. So this is why that's important is that when we are doing this, um, like if you want to grow your followers, getting a bunch of followers and zero engagement doesn't help you at all. So we want to get that engagement and then we want to bring those followers along. Okay. So I just want to give you a basic example of that. Um, and let me give you a quick next step in like 2 minutes. If you're in Crowdcast, um, there is a green button that says Facebook event. If you are watching the Social Coach, I think you can go to the description and find that event. If you're watching the event, you're already there. Um, I'm going to do a fifth bonus live tomorrow around noon Eastern. Okay. I covered we've done four lives and I've covered I've covered, you know, a whole like probably 9 weeks of coaching in a week. Definitely a month's worth of coaching in a week. You guys are gonna have questions. You're gonna have questions as you go through it, as you discover stuff. So I want to do a bonus Q&A. That won't probably be one of these sessions. We'll probably create a new session and uh, I'm going to post it in the event. Also, if you filled out the form of that, that like pre-event form, we'll send you the email. We'll probably make that tonight so that you can start asking your questions. We'll put it in the event. We'll email you. I'll put it in the chat here because I want to dedicate a whole a whole hour. Like we'll pretty much do like a lunch and learn where uh, we're gonna do. What are we gonna do for lunch tomorrow? Our sub shop closed, so that's our big problem. There's real problems in the world. Ours is what are we having for lunch? Um, so what we're gonna do is have a whole Q&A. When you guys, we'll also probably release it in a couple of waves. What I will tell you is something interesting that I noticed is that when you uh, get your question in first, it tends to go to the top. It's just something weird about you humans is that there are people that wait till the last minute and have better questions, and their questions don't get answered because what happens is people look over the questions and then say, "Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one." And they get so many votes that when you come in at the end and like ask a really great question. So when you do get that notification, make sure that you jump over and ask a question, upvote that. And so we're going to dedicate a whole hour tomorrow over lunch Orlando time and try to get through as many of the questions as we can based upon those four sessions. We'll also be sending follow-up things like, hey, we're going to make these notes for you because part of like what we're trying to do is figure out um, what really helped you, what do you need more help of, and so we want to be able to continue to communicate and give you extra bonus stuff afterwards. Okay, we'll also then tomorrow night we'll be announcing our new theme that will kick off tomorrow night. We're going to do an episode of Talk Nerdy to Me. I'm going to show you some things that are happening with Facebook that you're going to absolutely love. Katie says, thanks for helping us not be a Jankopotamus or a Jankosaurus. So tomorrow's going to be a lot of fun. Okay. And we'll tell you what our new theme is, and I'll give you maybe some Facebook secrets. So thanks for tuning in. I'm going to try to figure out now. I have to unravel all of the tests. So here's something. It's on YouTube. Can be a little spammy. Here's the comments I've gotten so far. Follow for follow. Yeah, no, nah, never. That is never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. Okay, so goodbye. Let me just start shutting. Let me start shutting things down. Amber said, "I've loved this week full of IG." Yeah, so like we're trying to fine tune it. We live. You got to embrace the weird. One of the things that we're trying to do is, I think people hate like people are over Zooms. People are zoomed out. So we want to make ours, um, and nobody just want like if it's just you hit this button and this button and this button. I mean, why not just upload that to YouTube? But at the same time, we want to honor the people that are with us and make sure that we're giving them lots of extra stuff to help you guys win, especially at this, at these difficult times. Okay, well, gotta get ready for something, I can't.